Shalom, slave of Christ here. I want to present a message with angels, and especially now, this month that we're in the Jewish calendar system, is Abib. It just started the first of their New Year's according to Exodus 12 when God reset the calendar system. So this is God's first month. This is also the month that the first blood moon starts. So there's a lot of, if I could say, activity going on in the spiritual realm, as there's prophetic um, symbolism with the moons, and a lot of preachers are on that. I know a lot of people familiar with that, so I just want to give you this side of it, that I know there's different fruits of the Spirit, different gifts of the Spirit, that with this maybe we can, this is a time to receive a word from the Lord. I believe this, and I'm going to give you scriptures for it. And this is actual visitations where they see the angel, where they bring a word, a specific word on a specific occasion, because God's always very punctual. One's in Joshua 5, verse 10, they just kept the Passover. So in verse 13, it come to pass when Joshua was by Jericho and lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there stood a man over against him with the sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went unto him and said unto him, Art thou for us or for our adversaries? And he said, Nay, but as the captain of the hosts of the Lord am I now come. You can go in there and read the story. That was the first city they conquered when they just crossed over into the promised land. And that's in the month of Abib when this took place, when he saw that angel. Physically saw him. And then in Daniel, we have one of his great visions that he sees of end times. In Daniel 10 and 2, he's been fasting for 3 weeks. And let's go in, and I want to base this timeline. It's right here at verse 4. And it was the 24th day of the first month, and it was by the side of the great river, which is the Hiddekel. So the first month, that is the month of Abib. And then I lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. His body was also like the beryl, and his face is the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in the color of polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. Now Daniel alone saw the vision, for the men that were with me saw not the vision, but a great quaking fell upon them, so they fled to hide themselves. Therefore I was left alone and saw this great vision. He goes in there and goes and reads it. And look at that, but that is in the month of Abib, the first month. An angel comes and physically gives him a vision. And then here in Matthew 28, the resurrection of Jesus, of course, is he was crucified around Passover. So this would be 3 days, 3 nights later. If we find the timeline based on that, let's go in verse 2 in chapter 28. And behold, there was a great earthquake, for the angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat on it. His countenance was like lightning, and his raiment white as snow. And for fear of him, the keepers did shake and become as dead men. And the angel answered and said unto the women, Fear not ye, for I know that ye seek Jesus, which was crucified. He is not here, for he is risen, and he has come. Come see the place where the Lord lay, and go quickly and tell his disciples that he is risen from the dead. And behold, he goeth before you into Galilee. There shall you see him. Lo, I have told you. See, that was one of the greatest messages an angel could have brought, was that the Lord has risen now. And then another one here is in Acts 12, and this has to do with Emperor Herod, or King Herod, was going to put Peter to death. And in chapter 12, verse 3, we see, Then there were days of unleavened bread. This is the month of Abib. This is right after Passover. And then when Peter was in prison, he said, Peter therefore was kept in prison, but prayer was made for him without ceasing of the church unto God for him. And when Herod would have brought him forth that same night, Peter was sleeping between two soldiers bound with two chains, and the keepers before the door kept the prison. Behold, the angel of the Lord came upon him, and a light shone in the prison. He smote Peter on the side and raised him up, saying, Arise up quickly. And his chains fell off his hands, and the angel said unto him, Gird thyself and bind on thy sandals. And so he did. And he saith unto him, Cast thy garment around thee, and follow me. And he went out and followed him, and wist not that it was true which was done by the angel, but thought he saw a vision. So he visually saw the angel physically touched him. These are all physical. It's just not a word coming to him. The angels are appearing to him, and it's always in the month of Abib. In them circumstances and where people were praying, people were fasting, and they received the word. And that's what I want to present, is now is the time for the church body to discern the times, different fruits out there, different gifts out there. I'm just presenting this based on scriptures. I believe the entire Bible. I have no set doctrine. I just believe what the Bible says. I do my own studying, and I just want to present that to y'all. As this is the month of Abib, this is Passover, this is when Jesus died for us. So I believe there's possibly be a higher level of activity, and with activity it's also spiritual activity being good and bad. So we just pray and fast, and maybe we can have a breakthrough with something that we're going through, receive a word. And then also my next video, I'm kind of psyched about it, and I'll present it, and it's based on the fire of God and the protection that it holds. Shalom.